Turkish proxies have started a war with U.S. proxies in Syria. The Houthis are hitting Israel with ballistic missiles, and the U.S. and Britain are trashing Yemen. How did Turkey and the U.S. decide to divide Syria? Why are the Turks sure of war with Iran? And for what purpose a whole army is deployed on the border with Iraq? This is Ilya Brizak. Let's discuss it. According to the Saudi channel Al Hadath, last night there were at least 3 powerful airstrikes on the military facilities of the Houthis in Sana'a. This is the 4th attack by the U.S.-British military in Yemen this week. The attacks resumed after the arrival of the Harry Truman aircraft carrier strike group in the area. U.S. Central Command confirmed it carried out precision airstrikes on a missile depot and command and control center of Iran-backed Houthis in Sana'a, December 21, Yemen time. However, after these strikes, the Houthis made threats against Israel, quote, "Israel will not sleep at night every day," end quote. At the same time, all last night, the ships of the Harry Truman strike group were subjected to a massive drone attack by the Houthis. According to the Americans, the attacks were repelled. According to other information, the aircraft carrier has damage. Estimates in Israel are that the Houthis will greatly increase the frequency of attacks on Israel. They report that almost every day the Hussites launch rockets or drones into Israel, most of which fall or are intercepted. Nevertheless, some reach their targets. Last night, one of the Hasidic ballistic missiles reached Tel Aviv. It destroyed a playground and injured 15 people. Subscribe to my channel right now. I tell you about the latest news from around the world. Meanwhile, localized wars in the Middle East are underway on many fronts. Right now, serious clashes are going on between the American-backed SDF and the Turkish-backed SNA. SDF fighters are hitting the SNA in northern Syria with FPV drones, and the SNA is hitting the Kurds with drones and artillery. Many experts see this as a conflict within NATO. But at the same time, in an interview with reporters, Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan said that the U.S. and Western countries have a great responsibility to stop Israel. He said the West needs to say in a vocal way that Israel's occupation of Syrian territories in the Golan's is unacceptable. And in an interview with French television station France 24, he said he believes the likelihood of war between Israel and Iran is very high, even though the Iranians are avoiding a major war. Meanwhile, Syrian Kurds in the northeast of the country are coming out to protest against the Turkish occupation and are demanding that the world stop Ankara before it is too late. According to military experts, Turkey is right now occupying about 20% of Syria's territory in the north. For his part, Hakan Fidan said that Turkish troops are in Syria for 2 reasons: to prevent mass migration and to fight terrorism. He noted that if these problems are solved, Turkey will have no reason to stay in Syria any longer. But everyone knows that the terrorists for Turkey are the PKK led by the Kurds. And as long as there is no final solution to the Kurdish issue, according to analysts, Turkey will always have an excuse for its presence in Syria. Meanwhile, the other day, the U.S. made 2 serious strategic decisions. First, according to Bloomberg, with reference to the Turkish Minister of Energy, the U.S. allowed Turkey to pay for Russian gas through the sanctioned Gazprom Bank. Ankara had been pushing for exceptional rules in this matter, as the sanctions against Gazprom Bank have a direct impact on the Turkish-Russian gas trade. According to experts, this is how behind-the-scenes negotiations began on the distribution of influence between the parties in Syria. Secondly, the U.S. Department of Justice notified the new leader of Syria, Abu Muhammad al-Julani, about the cancellation of the $10 million reward for his head. This happened the day before American diplomats visited Damascus and held the first official meeting of Washington representatives with the new Syrian authorities led by Hayat Tahrir al-Sham and discussed the country's political future with them. It is likely that the U.S., like Turkey, wants to take al-Julani's government under its wing at an official level in the future. The Americans already have military bases in Syria, and most likely Washington, like the Turks, will want to further increase their number and officially legitimize the presence of these bases with the new Syrian government. But thirdly, a bill was introduced in the U.S. Congress to impose sanctions against Turkey in connection with its actions against the subversive activities of PKK terrorists in Syria. Let me remind you that the PKK is officially recognized as a terrorist organization in the U.S. In addition, the Saudis are entering the game. According to Iran Out and Saudi Arabia In, Saudi Arabia is taking responsibility for oil supplies to Syria, and since yesterday, Saudi oil supplies to the Syrians have already begun. This happened against the backdrop of Iran's decision to stop sending them its oil. Thus, moderate Arab countries are beginning to act quickly to prevent other players from filling the vacuum that was created in Syria with the fall of the Assad regime, and first of all, Turkey, and along with it, Qatar. However, However, it will not be possible to get away with just oil. At the moment, Syria needs help on all fronts, including military, which the Americans are already doing. The Biden administration admitted that it allegedly did not know the exact number of American soldiers in Syria and clarified that at the moment their number is about 2,000 servicemen who are engaged, first of all, in ensuring the non-proliferation of terrorist cells in the country. According to military analysts, after the events in Syria, Iraq will likely be at the epicenter of the next military conflicts. And the current situation confirms these assumptions. Iraqi state television reported that the new leadership of Syria, for the first time, deployed a number of official military personnel, along with a group of armed militias, at the Al-Bukamal crossing opposite the Al-Qaim border crossing in Anbar province in Iraq. The number of deployed forces at the moment is up to 200 people. The White House press secretary said that the Hashd al-Shabi paramilitary formations in Iraq pose a serious threat to the citizens of the United States of America. And what do you think about it? Write in the comments. And such steps obviously cause concern in Iran and are part of the West's long-term strategy. In response, Tehran has already decided to directly intervene on the battlefield if Iraq is threatened. In other words, if the Americans dare to take active action in Iraq. In addition, authorities in Tehran reported that last week in Damascus, one of the employees of the Iranian embassy in Syria was shot dead in his car. Iran has not yet brought charges against anyone. According to a report from Iraq, 1,905 Assad soldiers who fled to Iraq after the fall of the regime have returned to Syrian territory after an amnesty was declared for them. As for Israel, Turkey, Iran, Russia, and Syria itself, Jilani discussed in an interview with a BBC correspondent located in Damascus. He said that Israel had justifications for intervening in Syria due to the presence of Iranian proxies and Hezbollah. Now they are gone, therefore the presence of Israeli troops in Syria must be stopped. However, regardless of whether Israel is strong or not, Syria does not plan to fight Israel. Moreover, according to him, Syria will not pose a threat to Israel or anyone else. And on the issue of Russian military bases, which are now urgently being curtailed in Syria, no decisions have been made yet. Jilani emphasized that now it is necessary not to engage in aggressive plans, but to strengthen Syria. Meanwhile, in the south of Syria, during a demonstration of villagers against the Israeli presence, the residents came too close to the soldiers, as a result of which Israel opened fire. One of the demonstrators was wounded in the leg. It is precisely such situations that can very quickly lead to an escalation in relations. But at the same time, the head of the Druze community in Suwaida said that he is negotiating with the new government in Damascus and they were promised to include the Druze in parliament. We will soon see what will happen in reality. Write in the comments what you think about this. Boosty and Patreon for those who want to support the channel. See you